Assalamualaikum and greetings everyone, and welcome to today's forum on preserving cultural identity in the age of globalization.
Yes.
As we gather here, it is actually essential for us to recognize how rapidly global influences are reshaping our societies, particularly here in Malaysia. As we all know, Malaysians are one of the countries that is known for its rich tapestry of
Yes.
cultural diversity. In this discussion, we will be delving into the challenges and solutions surrounding the preservation of our cultural identity amidst the pressure of modernization.
Yes.
But what is it actually, cultural diversity? For short, it is actually when there are differences in our cultural backgrounds,
Yes.
in language, religion, and even our daily life, how we work. So today I'll be joined with two esteemed speakers, which is really experienced in this field. Firstly, I am Putrina Atisha Amira binti Muhammad Firdaus, a teacher who has witnessed beforehand how cultural diversity has changed our students' identity. Then we will hear from our historian lecturer who will take us back through Malaysia's historical roots and highlight the cultural elements at risk of being lost.
Alright, so thank you for inviting me. Hi everyone, my name is Nur Chandra Balkis binti Muhammad Farid, and currently I am working as a history lecturer in my university. So today I joined this forum to express and to explore together on how can we discuss about language and cultures in our society. I will try my best.
Finally, our young Malaysian that I have invited exclusively that we will speak on behalf of the youth, reflecting on the modern struggle to balance global trends with cultural heritage. Can you introduce yourself?
Okay, hi, I am Nur Anisifia binti Anwar. Today I am invited as one of the representative of Malaysian youngsters along with these amazing speakers, and I will be discussing together with them about this interesting issue about culture and globalization. Even though I'm not that expertise as them, but I will try my best.
Alright, so together we have ended the introduction. So for now, we will start to explore on what it means to preserve our cultural identity in this rapidly changing world, and how can we keep the tradition alive. With the collective efforts, we can confirmly keep our tradition more lively in this rapidly changing world. So first, I think we can start from our expert teacher, which is Teacher Alisha, that she actually can explain to the audience in the context of education related to our issue that happen currently, which is related to language and cultures in the society. So I welcome you, Teacher Alisha.
Thank you, Ms. Sham, for the chance. So in my school, I teach students from different cultural backgrounds, right? And I have observed how globalization has affected their sense of identity. I believe in this generation, many of them prefer Western pop culture over traditional practices, and some of them don't even speak their mother tongue, which is actually saddening us as a Malaysian, where we actually enrich our language in our country. So as an educator, I have faced the challenge of making cultural education engaging and relevant. We organize cultural days where students are encouraged to share their heritage through traditional attire, dance, and food. For instance, Hari Raya celebration, I believe Miss Anis has joined the celebration as been a good kind of tradition in our school.
I believe so.
So apart from that, we also integrate lessons about the country's history and cultural diversity into our curriculum. Moving forward, I believe that teachers, parents, community, even from both of the speakers here, I believe must work together to ensure our cultural traditions are kept alive and celebrated.
I believe so.
Okay, what's a good point to start, Teacher Alisha? So I think what if we give a chance to our Miss Shamira, a history lecturer, the one that is credible enough to shed light on this issue in terms of historical context and what do we actually risk.
Alright, so thank you. What a great question to start. So, as far as we know, Malaysia is a multicultural country, so it is unique. So, for my opinion, I guess we are currently facing two main problems, which is modernization and urbanization. Those two have brought many significant challenges in our society. Well, as younger generation, they move into cities and also they start to adapt to modern lifestyles. Our traditional ways and also community practices are slowly fading. And as a result, we can see how our historical customs are being forgotten. We must also understand how our culture is not static. It will change gradually within times and modernization. But the essence of our identity must be preserved. For example, I will give you example, Tarian Zapin. Tarian Zapin, it is a traditional dance that are usually being performed at celebration or festival. It tells story to movement while featuring lyric of Willie. Do you can imagine how beautiful is that?
How
It is
beautiful is it?
our traditional way and it symbolizes our ethnic, which is Malay. Alright, so but however, as global dance styles rise, interest in Tarian Zapin has gradually started to fade away. For example, our younger generation are taking interest in hip hop or K-pop, which you can see. So I believe if we don't act now, we will witness the gradual disappearance of our cultural landscape. I believe so. That's all from historical context in this session, I believe.
Yeah. So what about we take a perspective from our youngsters?
I heavily agree with Miss Shamira. As a young Malaysian, I can admit that we are caught between embracing global culture and preserving our roots. I mean, the emergence of social media and global trends foster a new lifestyle, new ideas, and even new language.
Yes.
And I find this that kind of interesting, especially for younger generation to follow it. So, but this thing has also disconnected many of us from our heritage. For instance, don't you see that we speak more English now
Yes.
rather than
Yes.
our mother tongue as our daily conversation? But by doing so, we sometimes lose touch with our native languages and dialects, which is the central of our culture, right? Language.
Yes.
So we also see the same thing in terms of how we dress and how we eat. Like Western fashion is everywhere right now.
Yeah.
While our traditional clothing is beautiful and meaningful in many ways,
Like baju kurung.
Like baju kurung.
It's pretty actually. Yes.
but today we only use it for certain events or certain festival only. And in terms of food, fast food and international cuisines are more easy and popular nowadays. So some of us don't even know how to eat or how to cook our traditional cuisine.
I believe so.
Like our delicious nasi lemak.
Oh,
Ah.
people that don't know.
I find this that kind of saddening. Like how these values has slowly degraded in our society.
It's kind of saddening.
Yeah, true. But I mean, our food is actually the identity of our
But
country.
it symbolizes the Malay and even other races too. But they just wasted
True.
over
But-
our identity.
But I'm sorry for interrupting. But however, I believe that youngsters willing to preserve this culture if it is presented in an engaging way.
True.
Like, for example, we should leverage technology to make cultural content accessible. imagine, this is what I imagine, interactive website that teach us how to cook traditional cuisines, like I said
That
earlier.
would be fun.
Accessible.
And for
Yeah.
and others like social media that highlight traditional clothing and dialect. I find that this can make it is possible to cherish our tradition in youngsters.
Thank you, Miss Anis. It is actually really clear that the preservation of our cultural identity in Malaysia requires a collective effort from all parts of society: educators, cultural historians, youth, and even the community, right? So, in order to make this successful, we must act together to ensure our cultural heritage remains vibrant for generations to come. So, let's ask everyone here for their opinion to how should we encourage people to be aware about culture, since I believe each of us have our own different opinions on how we should promote our culture into the world, right?
Yes, I believe so.
So, in our interconnected world, language barriers are a significant challenge, right? That impact cultural understanding and social inclusion. So, in this part, I will walk you through several strategies that can help address these issues effectively. So, just like Miss Anis said just now, that some of us really have a sense of pride in speaking English instead of our mother tongue language. So, as an educator, this can actually be quite a challenge, since in school we focus on cultural and societal challenge to be observed among students in Malaysian school students. So, what is actually the major challenge that I face in school? Because if I pick every challenge, that will take so much time. So, one of the major challenges in schools today is fostering a sense of unity while respecting cultural differences. I mean, we can be united, but sometimes we can't respect each other. So, our students, my students, come from diverse backgrounds like Malays, Chinese, Indians, and even indigenous community, each with its own customs and tradition. So, while diversity is beautiful, it also can have other consequences, which can lead to misunderstanding or a lack of interaction among different groups. I mean, I am a teacher, so I have witnessed how my classroom has divided into their own cultural background. So, however, I believe that balancing cultural sensitivity with promoting a shared national identity remains a persistent challenge for me as a teacher.
Yeah. I think that's quite a challenge for teacher nowadays, because we can see how even the youngsters, they are start to develop the racism inside themselves.
True.
But
I
I mean the youngsters.
Yeah, you are such a representative. You can feel that way because your new generation are starting to act more aggressively towards another races. Like that is so
This is
aggressive.
actually
Such as a young.
we should not promote that negativity.
Yeah, I think so. For my part, as a historical context, I believe that we all know that Malaysia is a multicultural country. That is what makes our country unique. But it also, the multicultural heritage also brought many positive sides and also negative sides. We can say that it has both pro and cons. While multicultural maybe brought many our rich heritage, it also can lead into a social tensions. What is social tensions? It is such a agreement within races, religions, belief, and even ethnic. So, what are the government action? They are starting to address this issue with the policy. Okay, so I think that's all from historical context. We can move towards the youngsters maybe.
what a fascinating insight from expertise, both of you. So, in my opinion, as a young Malaysian, I'm sorry, the question is the challenges, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so as a young Malaysian, I've witnessed that the biggest societal challenges for young Malaysian is navigating identity in this globalized world. I mean, we are connected to global trends, ideas. We as the Malaysian are not accepted to these global trends. But as youngsters, we also feel the responsibilities to uphold these traditional values. You might not see this coming from a youngster, but it is actually true that I've witnessed that our culture has slowly been invaded by others, by
Western, for
other
example.
factors, for example, the Westerners. So, I think like in Malaysia, the youngsters are giving low opportunities to change this. We want to contribute meaningfully to the society, but we also face these kind of barriers to hinder our growth and potential.
Yeah, this is actually a valid concern coming from youngsters. Actually, it's actually very
Our
impressive.
representative.
So it is clear that while Malaysia's cultural diversity is a source of pride, it also presents challenges that impact different sectors of society. Before we wrap up, do any of the speakers here have final thoughts
Of course
on
we have.
how we can address these challenges? How about I start first?
Alright.
I believe
Our
education is a key, right?
Education,
Yeah, because I need to teach my students the value of empathy and respect for differences from a very young age. True.
Alright, so I agree with our expert teacher. We should also try to revisit our historical narrative, right? We need to develop our elements of empathy towards language and culture in our society. So what about you?
Okay, as a youngsters, I can suggest about technology. Like I have mentioned
As
a bit
expected.
earlier.
Yes.
I have mentioned this a bit earlier about the technology. So I found a statistic that say as of 2024, more than 90% of the population is active on social media platform, with a significant portion being young people aged 18 to 34. So, I mean like, social media play a very huge role in this matter.
That's actually well said. We also
Yeah.
have many opportunities to
Yeah.
grow together as a nation. But let's look deeply into how technology, how
Can be
can
solution.
be our solution today.
Alright, so I believe we have now started the more interesting session. So now we have an exciting discussion plan focusing on how technology can be a tool for positive change in our society. We can also now discuss about the solutions on how technology and the impact of social media in Malaysia. So we have two. We have technology and we have social media. You guys
Okay.
understand this, okay? So as a teacher, you've seen first-handed how there are many issues that occur in the context of education nowadays. So what solutions can technology offer to improve the learning experience and address this matter and challenges among students? Yeah.
So thank you. That is actually a very interesting question. As I believe, how technology can even give us benefit, I think technology has truly revolutionized the classroom. Do you remember during the pandemic how the classroom we can't continue our class like usual? So crucial online learning tools has been used for my students and me in order to continue our education.
Wow, so happy.
So platforms like Google Classroom and educational apps allow us to continue teaching, though not without challenges. Because I believe education is the key. So
Yes.
we need to keep educate our students even there is a pandemic, right? So moving forward, we need to integrate technology more seamlessly into our education system. For example, artificial intelligence.
AI.
I think it is actually becoming a trend right now among the students.
Yes.
So
That's my lifesaver.
true, right? So we can help with using artificial intelligence. We can help those who is struggling
Yes.
by expanding access to digital resources and focus on developing critical digital literacy skills so students use technology wisely and responsibly. Because even though artificial intelligence can help us, it sometimes can actually
Yes.
make
Also
our
bring the
students
cons,
grow
yeah.
slowly.
Well, such an excellent insight from our expert teacher. Alright, now as a history lecturer, I will share my opinion and fact to see how technology is being used to preserve Malaysia's diverse identity and to keep our tradition alive. So, it is how we can address the societal issues. So, first, I will try to express how the social media and the technology can help in addressing this matter in today's world. So first of all, technology offers incredible opportunity to preserve and promote our cultural heritage. For instance, digital archiving allows us to see historical documents, photographs and oral histories that might otherwise be lost and fade away. So, virtual museum tours can bring our rich history to people all over the world, especially those who thinks that museum is kind of tacky and old-fashioned. So, for example, young generation today, for example, your generation, they are too lazy to come to the physical museum. So, I believe, yes,
Means
is
like
that right?
there is people coming to museum nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, that's my question.
Like for some parts of community, they might believe that going to physical museum might be kind of old-fashioned. Well, the
True.
question might be just some parts love to go to the museum, while the other parts they might think it's old-fashioned. So we have this now technology to integrate our new version of that museum. For example, we have now online museum where people can only surf the internet and go to the museum and learn about history. So that is the benefits of this technology. What about the social media? I've seen social media influence your peers. Could you please share statistics on social media use and how it impacts the youngsters? And do you think the solution for this matter can be related to technology and social media for the youth representative?
Alright. I think since the beginning of this forum, I've been very passionate about technology.
Yeah. Because you are young.
That's really reflect me as a
Yes.
young generation that spend most of my time with technology. So I have mentioned this statistic earlier about the age of 18 to 34 are mostly using social media most of their time. So platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter are the one that are incredibly popular nowadays. These medias, this platform are actually shape everything from fashion trend to political awareness. On one hand, this can create opportunities to overcome this problem about culture and globalization.
Yes.
For example, I think it is important for tech companies and the government to work together to promote digital well-being through social media.
Yes.
For example, they could implement stricter regulations on harmful content and offering workshop in school and digital safety.
Yeah.
Safety in school, right? we as a young people also need to learn to balance our time online and focus on social media to create positive impact ourselves. Okay,
Yeah, actually in school safety, I believe there are actually ongoing trends that is actually concerning because
Yeah.
I've been hearing my students talking about bad words, you know, the trends like skibidi. I think you guys know that trend,
know.
right? Yeah. So,
I
yeah.
also know about
So
it.
there are also significant challenges that we must address truthfully. Before we conclude, do any of you have final thoughts on
Of
using technology
course.
to benefit Malaysian society?
Alright, so first of all, I believe
that technology, while technology can be used for a bad way, it can also benefit us from any point of view, right?
the challenges. So I think before we have our final thoughts and conclusion, let us make this forum more interactive and interesting. So
Yes.
let us start with Q&A session. So I believe you have question about this, teacher Alicia?
Yes, so my question is, with the title of Imagining the Future
Yeah.
of Cultural Identity.
Wow.
So this question can be open to everyone. So imagine if Malaysia continues to embrace modernization
Yeah.
without emphasizing cultural preservation. What aspect of our heritage do you think will be most at risk in the next 20 to 30 years? Because I believe this issue
Wow.
is very concerning
Yeah.
actually.
Well, what's a great question. I believe if we're not being careful, we could lose some very important parts of our cultural identity. First, we might lose our traditional language. What is our national language?
Malay.
Yes,
Malay.
bahasa Melayu, right?
Bahasa
Or we
Melayu.
can call it bahasa kebangsaan. But did you know also there are actually 130 languages
Oh.
across Malaysia?
That's a lot.
Well, many people don't know because, well, new generation literally just don't speak about their family language anymore. For example, we have Mahmari language, okay? This is a language that are being spoke by indigenous group in Selangor. Well, because of what? Because recently only 3,000 left the speaker of Mahmari in Malaysia. So next, I believe we have problem occurred with related to arts and culture in Malaysia. I believe you guys know what is batik, right?
Yeah.
Batik and wayang kulit. It is literally types of arts and culture in Malaysia. But there is now new generation just don't give, like I say, they just don't care about our cultural heritage and they are more being westernized by the Western. So in the past, people in village would gather to clean up or help each other with big tasks. So what is this implying? It is implying a good values, right?
True.
Good values. It actually start in the old time, but new generation they are just being. So now there is a slang of new generation attitude which we call nonchalant. Do you guys know what is nonchalant?
Yes.
Well, nonchalant is the act of new generation that doesn't care about anyone else around themselves. So I believe it is a government, our organization within art and culture across Malaysia and also local community to help preserving our cultural identity. So I believe there are questions too.
Yeah. So about that nonchalant, I actually believe that because my students before used to help me when they see me carrying a heavy bag, but now the youngsters just don't do that. Alright.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. That's
So
bad.
I believe youngsters are more into fun activities. So can you share any creative ideas for making cultural tradition more cool or modern for today's generation? So I can, like apply it into my classroom.
Thank you for the question. I think mixing technology with our culture will make it really exciting.
That's actually a good idea.
Like, almost everyone in my age is online. Is
Oh.
chronically online.
online.
So there are over 30 million internet users in Malaysia. and most of them use social media.
Mm.
Imagine if we use this platform like TikTok and Instagram to share about our traditional foods,
Yeah.
our traditional dances, or even craft. For example, there was a viral trend called hashtag Sama-sama, where Malaysians shared recipes and folk stories, and it got millions of views.
Oh,
Wow.
And another idea is using technology like virtual reality, where we could visit places like you said earlier about
Online museum, yes.
Or we can also try traditional clothes like baju kurung and baju Melayu with just filters.
Wow,
Like
that's
wow,
actually
the
cool.
people outside of Malaysia also can try it
Yeah.
before they actually try.
What's our tradition?
So lastly, we could, this is my opinion, I think we could make festival and music cooler by blending
Great idea.
traditional sound with modern. Like at Penang Cultural Fusion Festival, it was a hit with young people. In fact, a survey showed that 68% of young Malaysians would go to more cultural event if they had this modern twist. So basically, by mixing our culture with things that we love like technology and social media, I can actually keep our traditional alive in a fun way.
Okay, I would take that into my notes because I can use this into my classroom actually.
Heavily.
Alright, I think so. All of us have touched on challenges we find in preserving our culture.
We want to hear from the expert. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's not our
solution.
So let us welcome Teacher Alicia.
So throughout this discussion, I think about some solutions that we can use in every field like education, social medias, and technologies. So first of all, we need to teach culture in schools. The government should actually try to apply culture into the education syllabus.
Yes.
For example, students could learn about traditional music, art, and language. I believe there is a curricular activity. So in this way, we can foster the activity into the curricular activity.
Yes.
In fact, a study by the Ministry of Education itself found that students are more likely to respect and appreciate their culture if it's part of their lessons. Like, I think Miss Adi also learned history back in school, right? So I think appreciate your So the government and business also can help by funding programs that showcase traditional craft like batik and wayang kulit. I will take Miss Ani's words again, which we can make fun festivals, right? All the youngsters will definitely join us. And in this way, we can give all people a chance to experience these arts directly. Because I believe that not all of us have the access to the arts, right?
Yes.
So some of Malaysians, 70% of Malaysians said they would be actually more interested to this kind of activity. So other than that, we need to use social media to promote culture.
Of course.
So I believe social media can make a big difference into how the statistics show that almost more than half of Malaysians use social media in the daily life. So by featuring our culture in the social media, we can make it cool for young people. Because I think young people really enjoy cool
Yes.
things, right?
Yeah,
They don't
such-
like the boredom.
Gen Z blood.
Yeah.
Yes.
In fact, according to a report, Malaysian Communication and Multimedia Communication, 89% of Malaysia use social media. It's actually a big number, right?
Yes.
So these steps could help our culture stay strong and keep our tradition alive for the future.
I believe so because this new generation they're more likely to enjoy in the interactive and interesting way. So
Yeah.
festival is such a good idea.
Yeah,
So
right.
I believe we have to integrate that. So I believe we have to close our forum already. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like the time is jealous of us. So let's us begin with our closing remarks.
So thank you for all the speakers that joined me today for their very inspiring sites actually. So I can like take some of you guys' words to apply it into our education and create a better generation
Yes.
in the future. So in the face of globalization, let's quickly recap the main takeaways so all of us can actually, you know, take
Let's
notes
start
of-
with you first.
Okay.
Teacher always first.
Yeah, like
Teacher
always, I will start first.
Okay.
So, firstly, I've learned that education plays a vital role in helping young Malaysians appreciate their heritage,
Yes.
right? By celebrating cultural days and integrating history and language lessons into school curriculums, students can develop a sense of pride in their roots, right? Just like when they celebrate Hari Raya Idul Fitri, I think I've seen a very big smile on their face wearing a very pretty baju kurung because they are very, very proud of their identity.
Yes.
So, in this way, we can create a shared responsibility for cultural preservation.
Well, since the start, I've only shared about historical, alright? So, I think it defines our identity as a Malaysian. Not only Malay, but also Chinese, Indian, Kadazan Luzon, Iban, and another races. But I also want to warn us about the risk of losing our unique custom, language, and values. The values like gotong royong, it itself has good moral like gotong royong, it helps other people. By supporting cultural festivals, art preservation, and language education, like in the context of education, you itself, the educator, you
Yes.
need to foster elements of empathy and unity and also equality in the classroom.
Yeah, I will try my best
Yes,
to do
you
that.
also as youngsters, you need to start asking other people around you, your generation, to start develop these elements.
Right. So, can I give my closing remarks?
Yes, you can.
But it's actually the same that I pointed about technology and social media, and virtual experiences can make cultural preservation for the youth. And if we find more interactive way to showcase our heritage, young people will feel more connected to our
I
culture.
believe so.
Yeah, because this discussion actually aims to unite us all, right? So, in our daily lives, we can each play a role in preserving our culture as an educator, as a
Yes.
lecturer, youngsters, whether it's speaking our native language at home, attending local festivals, or supporting artisans by traditional crafts. These small actions make a big difference, you know? You might think that attending cultural festival can change the world. No.
No.
It actually can be more than that, right? So, what do you think, Vishal?
Do you guys want to hear this one interesting quote in Bahasa Melayu?
Yeah.
Well, excuse me audiences and also speaker, I will speak this quote in Bahasa Melayu. Tak kenal, maka tak cinta. So, it means to know is to love. Let's get to know our culture better so we can truly love and value it. By doing so, we ensure that future generations can experience and appreciate the rich heritage we have today, which is multiculturalism, language, cultures, and even arts.
That's actually a beautiful
Yeah,
slogan.
So, what about you, our youngster?
Yeah.
I agree with all of your suggestions because it is you guys that have witnesses about this issue more than me.
Yeah.
So I think I will agree to all of it.
Yeah, thank you.
And will implement it to my generation, and I will suggest it to them and what.
So lastly, after a very best discussion we having today, I actually have a question. Last question.
Wow.
So let's just
Go
keep it
for-
simple.
Yes.
So I
It's
believe we
okay.
have found solution, challenges, and issues we have talked about. So do you guys have any hope after
Oh.
this discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's start with you.
Well,
Michelle.
let me think first. Give me 20 seconds.
Okay. All right.
Well, I think I have hope for both of your field. For the Annie Sophia, you are a youngster. So for your field, I guess I have a really high hope for the new generation today. They have to develop this kind of element to appreciate more about our language and culture. They need to start appreciate bahasa Melayu more and also our tradition ways since the old times. And in your field, education,
Yes.
I believe educators nowadays are also Gen Z.
True. Yeah.
Yes, the new teacher.
Yes.
They need to start to have this kind of teaching that will teach the students, no matter primary, no matter the secondary one, or even the kids, the little kids. They need to start appreciate more about the multiculturalism, and the students cannot be racist.
True.
By the
yeah.
time they
We need
grow.
to avoid
So
that.
I guess that's all my hope.
That's a big challenges.
Yeah, actually, because racism is actually quite have growing.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Among
Malaysia.
the- and
Before
even-
this, we just hear it like outside
True.
of Malaysia, but in Malaysia it has also
Yeah,
grown.
but now it's starting to grow. Even for elementary kids, they are
Yeah.
starting to use racism word.
Maybe it comes from their family.
Yeah. So
and the technology again.
yeah.
Become your friend. What about your hope?
So as a young Malaysian, I hope that my generation will acknowledge more about this issue, about how we can address this issue and become more appreciate.
Yeah.
We can more appreciate more our tradition. For example, our bahasa Melayu, our mother tongue.
Yes.
And I mean, like, we are not supposed to left behind the English
Yes.
importance, but also we need to balance it well. I think
That's
that is
all.
all.
Okay, so for the cherry on top,
Cherry on top.
cherry on top.
What
What are your hope, teacher Alicia?
So my hope is actually for each of us to collaborate. Collaborate, because I believe
Interesting idea.
Because I believe that from historical field
Yeah.
and educators and youngsters can create a better community. Because I believe my job, my career is to teach your generation in order to become a better
Yeah.
person in the future, right? So I would like to try my best and try to take your words, like, making it fun and cool, because I actually see my students getting bored when I'm teaching actually. Yeah, right. Yeah. So even from historical view,
Appreciate the
yeah,
culture.
I believe I can actually, suggest to my upper ups to make
Classroom.
the classroom and bring them to the museum. Actually,
Oh.
make a visit to the museum, because
Appreciating.
since these days we actually just bring the kids to the water park. So
Yeah.
I think we need sometimes to bring them
Appreciate.
to something more
Like
educated.
I say, like, is there any people nowadays that go to that place, that kind of historical places? And you should.
Yeah, I think I should try it first. I should take the first step, right? To that. Because I think our historical lecturer will really appreciate that.
Of course, me as a historian lecturer, do that please.
Yeah, okay, so I think that is all for my hope. So any of you guys have any last words before we close our
I don't
discussion?
think so maybe to know is to love. So let us all love our traditions and culture.
Because Malaysian like said, tak kenal maka tak cinta. So that's all for our today's discussion, and we will see you in another discussion. Thank you everyone.
Thank you for listening. You can have the buffet. Thank you for listening.
Thank you everyone. everyone for this opportunity.